Welcome back, folks. Today we're diving back into the Fae Alchemy series with Book 2, Brimstone by Callie Hart. Spoilers ahead. We open with Kingfisher, our shadow-wielding MMC, stalking a vampire through the halls of the Black Palace at Amontreath. The vampire reveals himself, Fisher stabs him with Nimmerel, his clothes get ruined, again, and the vampire dissolves into ash. The encounter is a warning. The Blood Court is restless, and Ceres's safety is uncertain. Before the ash even settles, in comes Carrion. He tells Fisher something weird is happening outside. The snow looks like it's moving. Fisher runs to a window and sees a little white fox sprinting for its life while a horde of flesh-hungry feeders chase it like it's the last chicken nugget on the planet. Cue panic, it's Onyx, and Ceres would never forgive Fisher if something were to happen to the little fox. They launch into a high-speed rescue mission on horseback. Fisher scoops up the terrified, injured fox, hands him to Carrion, and gets them all back to the Black Palace. Ceres is not happy to see her fox half dead, but she is relieved to see that Fisher is still breathing. Even though he doesn't have access to most of his powers this side of the river, Fisher ends up sacrificing all his healing magic to save Onyx. Ceres asks why, and Fisher gives her the "I'd do anything for you" speech. As Ceres prepares for her coronation, Taladeus advises Fisher not to show fear or worry for Ceres, as the Blood Court will use any weakness to undermine Ceres's claim. In the past 48 hours, Ceres got a crash course in vampire Blood Court politics. There are 5 vampire lords who rule beneath the monarch. They're called the Lords of Midnight. There's Zovena, Taladeus's ex and the keeper of missives. Aerith, religious zealot leader and keeper of the even light. Algat, a former dark witch now keeper of records. The Hazrax, a tall, long-limbed creature who has sworn loyalty to no one but just wants to watch. It's the keeper of silence. And lastly, Taladeus, her sire and the keeper of secrets. They're all bound by the rule of ascension. This means they must acknowledge Ceres as queen first before they can try to steal her throne. If they acknowledge her, they must obey her. At least for a time. When Ceres and Fisher enter the Hall of Tears, the Lords of Midnight are waiting. Zovena challenges her, questioning how a former human can replace the mighty Malcolm and accusing Taladeus of trying to install Ceres as a puppet. The court refuses to crown her until she proves she is truly one of them. She must drink blood. Refusing to feed on a random victim, Ceres agrees to drink Fisher's blood. Ceres, being new to this, accidentally doses Fisher with her venom, resulting in a lusty exchange. It's explosive, transforming the Hall of Tears into a beautiful space. The court accepts her display of hunger as proof she's leased by the blood and that there's no question of her commitment to their people. Fisher and Ceres are still reeling from the bite as Aerith walks up to crown Ceres. Then Fisher spots Aerith pulling out a dagger from beneath his cloak. Fisher throws Nimmerel, stopping him from stabbing Ceres. Taladeus uses his powers to stop Aerith's followers from attacking as Ceres commands the court to their knees, issuing her first royal edict. When you're in my presence, you'll greet me on your knees. All subjects of the Blood Court are forbidden from harming or killing me, my mate or my friends. From this moment on, no feeder enthralled to a high blood of this court may be used for the purpose of war, malice, or mayhem. The vampires of Sanisroth have no choice but to obey. After this, Fisher is forced to leave Amontreath and return to Kalish. He fills Renfis in on everything that happened. The coronation, Ceres accidentally dosing him, killing a Lord of Midnight, and Ceres's edict. He also reveals he can't summon his shadow portals while at Amontreath. They run into Lorith, and the conversation shifts to Foley, one of their lost brothers from the Lupo Proella. At the Battle of Agent Gate, Foley was thrown from a dragon and attacked by feeders. They found him hours later, tucked away in the mouth of a mountain, hiding from the sunlight. A vampire now. Years later, Fisher discovered that Taladeus was at the battle, witnessed what happened, and changed Foley as a kindness to Fisher. Foley fed before Fisher and the gang could reach him, and he was horrified by what he'd done. Overcome with guilt, he fled and disappeared to Amontreath, cutting himself off from everyone. Taladeus knows where Foley is, but he's deliberately keeping that information to himself. This is especially frustrating because Foley's grandfather was an alchemist, meaning Foley might be the only person who can explain Ceres's powers. Before the conversation can go any further, Danya bursts into the tent, panicked. Apparently, there are 8 feeders at the riverbank acting strangely. Then all hell breaks loose. The feeders absorb both Ren's and Fisher's magic, and silver and fire don't affect them. Realizing magic is making them stronger, Fisher tells everyone to fight without it. As Fisher attacks one of the feeders with Nimmerel, a black substance crystallizes along the blade, and Nimmerel screams in pain. Fisher and Danya manage to behead a feeder, but in the process, Fisher is struck by a magical backlash and is thrown into the river. Hours later, he wakes in a tent healed by Telena. The warriors were able to chain the feeders together and behead them, but they are not dead. Ren says those feeders could only have been made by one person, Taladias. But Fisher shuts that down. After this exchange, Fisher learns they've lost 114 warriors. Fisher and Loreth return to Amontrayeth with the severed feeder heads for study, and Carrion makes a disturbing discovery. The feeders were human from Zilvaren. One of them even has a sterilization mark behind its ear like Ceres. This confirms Madra is deliberately infecting her people and sending them as living weapons. Meanwhile, Ceres continues to hear whispers from the Quicksilver. Teladias confirms there's a Quicksilver pool hidden within the Black Palace. Back at college, Ceres is welcomed by their friends, but things get awkward when Archer casually brings up wedding plans. Fisher shuts it down immediately, stating he and Ceres are already godbound. After dinner, Fisher explains that he would marry her if he could. Apparently, Fae weddings require exchanging their true names, giving the other person power over them. Fisher reveals he doesn't know his true name, since both his parents passed away before his 14th birthday, which is usually when the Fae learn theirs. Ceres makes it clear she doesn't need a ceremony, and that she chooses him regardless. They share an intimate moment, with Ceres drinking his blood and deepening their bond. The next day, Fisher and Ren head to the Irian war camp only to discover the camp has been destroyed. The feeders left tied to the oak tree have fused with it, which now bleeds black blood, confirming the rot is spreading. Realizing the danger, Fisher sends Ren to warn as many villages as possible about the rot. Back at Kalish, Ceres visits Everlane, who has been trapped in a coma-like state. When Ceres touches her, the Quicksilver in Everlane's earrings reacts, and she suddenly starts speaking. But it isn't Everlane's voice. The voice says its name is Adina. Speaking in riddles, Adina tells Ceres to find a hidden book in the library with a butterfly on it, and not to tell Fisher about the book. She then tells Ceres she needs to seal her alchemical runes before it's too late. As Adina leaves Everlane's body, Fisher walks in and asks why Ceres was screaming his mother's name. Ceres relays Adina's message, leaving out the part about the book. Fisher decides it is time to tell everyone what happened to Ceres during her transition. Fisher tells the group that Ceres met Zareth, the god of chaos. The gods have given up on this world, but Zareth thinks Ceres and Fisher can save it. No pressure. With time running out, they decide to split up. Fisher and Carrion will return to Zilvaren to uncover Madra's plans, rescue Ceres's brother, Hayden, and collect as much silver as they can to create relics. Ceres will stay in Amontrayeth to train with Loreth, try to learn as much as she can about her alchemy powers, and maintain her fragile grip on the blood court. Ceres opens the portal for the boys, then goes training with Loreth. As they train, Loreth tells her the tragic story of the Battle of Aegon Gate, where Ren's twin sister died. Aegon Gate is a magical iron-warded gate that guards Aegon City. The gate is designed to keep threats out, but it's vulnerable during festivals. During a festival, it's left open, and Fisher and the Lupo Proella stand guard. A dragon named Omnam Shikrai, believed to be the last black dragon, attacks Aegon City. Apparently, Malcolm promised Omnam Shikrai something in exchange for betraying the town. The only way to close the Iron Gate and stop the invasion was for Fisher to do it himself, despite the iron burning through his body. On the brink of death, Fisher is transported to another realm by the twin goddesses, Bal and Mithin, who healed him and gifted him the god sword, Nimmerel. Kingfisher awakens just as the battle for Aegon reaches its zenith. Ren's twin sister, Morel, is killed by the dragon while saving a child, and Foley is thrown from the dragon and presumed dead. In a desperate act to take down the dragon, Fisher allows himself to be swallowed by the dragon and kills it from the inside. As Fisher waits for his friends to get him out of the dragon's corpse, he's visited by Morel's spirit, who offers comfort and a final warning. All the god swords will start failing soon, except Nemerel, because part of her soul is bound to it. She also says his mother loves him and says to guard his true name. His life depends on it. After this trauma dump, Cerys and Lorith decide to get drunk. Their night of fun turns into a fight when the vampire running the tavern refuses to serve Lorith due to an unpaid tab. Teledias appears at the tavern, and we find out that he owns it. He forgives the 600-year-old debt and tells the vampire to serve them. While Cerys is being scolded by Teledias for being at the tavern, the runes on her hands start burning, which Teledias can feel through their maker bond. Teledias promises to help her figure out how to seal them. He also says he's worried about her political authority. To protect her rule, he proposes publicly severing their maker bond, and Cerys agrees. Meanwhile, Fisher and Carrion arrive in Zilvarin and are immediately attacked. They decided not to bring their god swords, worried that if they were caught, they didn't want Madra to gain more Quicksilver. Using shadows and glamour to hide their Fae appearance, they escape into the city. Carrion leads them to a tavern where they wait for a vault breaker named Vorath Shah, who Carrion needs to reach his hidden treasury. But when they finally corner Shah and reach the vault, they walk straight into a trap. Thousands of scorpions swarm them, merging into a powerful desert demon named Joshin, king of the dark dream. Back at Amontryeth, Teledias takes Cerys to visit the library. It's filled with enchanted paper stargazer birds. Algat is also there. She reveals that Malcolm hid the alchemist texts and demands blood in exchange for a book. Cerys gives blood to Algat's shadow cat, Guru, then commands Algat to never invade her mind again. When she's alone, Cerys is attacked by a vampire who turns out to be Foley Briarstone, Fisher's missing friend. Defending herself, Cerys's unsealed power discharges violently, punching a 20-foot hole in the palace wall. Cerys is still recovering from the blast when Foley confronts her, accusing her of killing Fisher, convinced Fisher would never give his dagger to a vampire. Lorith intervenes, explaining that Cerys is Fisher's mate. He tells Foley that they've been writing letters, trying to reach him for years. Foley reveals he never received the letters and has been hiding in the palace library ever since he was turned, refusing to swear loyalty to Malcolm. Meanwhile, in Zilvarin, Fisher and Carrion are stung by the scorpions, falling into hallucinations as the poison takes effect. Remembering the demon is vulnerable to light, Fisher breaks the magic seal on the tower wall and lets in the sun's light, weakening Joshin. Fisher makes a bargain with Joshin. He promises to spare Joshin's life and let him go free in exchange for a secret and 2 droplets of his venom, so they can make an antidote. Joshin agrees and seals the bargain with blood, not reading the fine print. Fisher takes one of Joshin's scorpions and seals it in a small wooden box. If the little scorpion is alive in the box, Joshin will not be truly dead. Joshin calls Fisher a cheat and a liar and says it will take him lifetimes to regenerate if they destroy this body. Fisher shrugs and says, "Tell us the secret." Joshin warns that defeating their true enemy will require facing something far darker and making an even greater sacrifice. Fisher burns the demon, and he and Carrion escape. Fisher uses his blood, salt, the captured scorpion's venom, and his shadows to create an anti-venom for Joshin's sting. Carrion and Fisher drink the cure, enduring violent seizures as it works. Once the seizures and hallucinations stop, they head to Carrion's place. Carrion opens up about his past, his lost homeland, his grief, and his complicated feelings for Cerys. He loved a human once, a long time ago, and he tried to love Cerys, but his heart was just too full of sorrow to make room for her. Back at the palace, Foley begins helping Cerys understand her alchemist powers, warning that her Quicksilver rune is dangerously unstable. But he refuses to go further until she rests and learns control first, because without balance, her power could destroy her. That night, Cerys and Fisher connect through a shared dreamscape near a huntsman cottage. They share an intimate night together, and afterwards, Cerys tells him they found Foley. He's now a shunned vampire, marked by gold-plated fangs. Fisher surmises that Malcolm must have let Teledias keep Foley at Amontryeth to control him instead of banishing him to the dead fields. Teledias must also be the one keeping Foley fed. Fisher reveals more of their history with Teledias. Apparently, he left the night he was supposed to become part of the Lupo Proella, also fleeing his betrothal to Everlane to join Malcolm. He did all of this because he was in love with Zavina. When Fisher wakes, his previously broken hand is healed, proving their shared dreamscape was real. At Carrion's home, Fisher sees drawings of Evelia and Carrion's mother, the former queen, and realizes how deeply Carrion longs for the life stolen from him. Meanwhile, Ceres continues training and studying her alchemist powers. Foley explains that her Quicksilver rune is one of the most powerful and dangerous symbols, requiring balance between salt, Quicksilver, and Brimstone, the Tria Prima. As she leaves the library, one of the enchanted paper stargazer birds follows her beyond its magical boundary and immediately falls to the ground, having lost the enchantment keeping it alive. Ceres is sad about this and picks up the fallen paper bird, putting it in her pocket. Fisher and Carrion locate Hayden in Zilvarin, but he attacks them, believing Madra's propaganda that Cyrus betrayed their people and was killed by Fisher. Carrion steps in and tells him it's all a lie. Ceres is alive and that they are there to take him to her. As they prepare to return, Hayden tells Carrion he should stay a bit longer, as his last living relative, Gracia Swift, has just passed away. It's a devastating moment for Carrion. Fisher, in a rare moment, offers Carrion some comfort. After the funeral, Madra's guardians ambush them, forcing them to flee and hide in Elroy's forge. Elroy is there, not happy to see Fisher, and reveals he's known about the Fae and Carrion's real identity for years, having kept it secret. The Swift family was tasked with looking out for Carrion through the generations, but Elroy's family, the Forge Masters, were tasked with something else. Elroy shows them the secret underground vault filled with stolen metal and the largest Quicksilver pool Fisher has ever seen. They've been collecting metal and any Quicksilver they can find for generations. Meanwhile, Ceres reads about the Tria Prima. In the forge, she creates a relic using Quicksilver, sacrificing a memory to bind its power. The mysterious Hazrax appears and offers her a bargain, the same one he gave to Malcolm. It will remain and observe her in exchange for granting her one favor per year. Ceres agrees, but she wants the opportunity to renew the bargain each year. After this exchange with the Hazrax, Ceres is overflowing with magic. She submerges herself in the Quicksilver pool where it challenges her to sacrifice Fisher for ultimate power. She refuses, choosing love, and the Quicksilver accepts her as a true alchemist, saying every alchemist must have something they're afraid to lose. The Quicksilver then throws her out of the pool and warns that its gift will be her end. Ceres wakes by the Quicksilver pool. She realizes she's opened it and scrambles to close it, but Belicon's Senial, Aureus, comes through with 5 guards and offers her a bargain on behalf of Belicon. In exchange for safe harbor from the rot and food for her and the entire Blood Court, Belicon wants Ceres as an alchemist in his court. He wants Everlane and Solace back, and he wants Kingfisher publicly executed. Aureus also reveals a terrifying truth. Now that she's half Fae, she's required to swear an oath before the Firin Stone, which all the Fae had to do, including Fisher and his wolves. They are all oath sworn to serve the Evelian throne, meaning Belicon can command them if he wishes. She says no, she won't be used as a tool. Proving the growing mastery of her powers, she splits her god sword, Solace, into 2 short swords and fights off Belicon's guards. Their null blades resist her magic, nearly overpowering her, until Fisher arrives through the Quicksilver to help. Ceres merges Solace into 1 sword again and summons a wall of energy that resembles her Alchemaran shield. A blast of light comes from it, killing the remaining guards. They send Aureus back to Belicon alive as a warning. Hayden is passed out from gate travel, but stable at Kalish with Telena looking after him. Ceres and Fisher share a quiet moment, and Ceres asks how an oath-sworn Fae breaks their oath. He says they can't. Ceres panics, saying that he and the other Fae warriors are all sworn to Belicon, and that he can control them. Fisher tells her not to worry because the wards at Kalish and Amantreath prevent him from going there, and that he must be in their physical presence in order to command them. But the calm is shattered when Archer interrupts, stating that Everlane's condition has worsened. Everlane is screaming and seizing. She awakens briefly, possessed by something unknown, and delivers a chilling warning. The gate is open and cannot be closed. With the rot approaching Kalish, they make the decision to evacuate all the Fae. Fisher sends Danya to retrieve their remaining soldiers at the temporary rally point and sends Loreth to get Eshabal to help with Everlane. Ceres, Fisher, and Carrion return to Amontreath to gather more books and retrieve Foley. Fisher, with the help of Guru, the shadow cat, finds Foley hiding on the library roof and reassures him that he hasn't lost himself to vampirism. He reminds Foley he is still one of them, a wolf, and entrusts him with guarding the trapped scorpion demon, Joshin, restoring Foley's sense of purpose and belonging. Taladeus gives Ceres the null blade recovered from Belicon's soldiers after the Quicksilver pool attack and prepares her for the upcoming Evenlight Ball. He tells her it's the perfect place to publicly sever their maker bond and that she must also choose a new Lord of Midnight at the ball. Afterwards, Ceres heads to the library to find Fisher, only to be intercepted by one of the enchanted paper stargazer birds. Before she knows it, hundreds of the stargazers buzz around her head. Then suddenly, as one, they all stop flying and fall to the ground. As they hit the floor, they begin to unfold. Ceres grabs one of the sheets and realizes there's writing on it about alchemists. As she's picking up the paper, they fly out of her hands and start stacking themselves into a single ordered pile of a book that has a silver butterfly on it. Ceres is shocked. That's the book Adina told her to find. Then Fisher finds her. Ceres ignores Adina's command not to tell Fisher about the book and gives it to him anyway. Fisher opens the book and there's a letter from his mother to him. It confirms he will fulfill his destiny. Adina instructs him to give Ceres the book back, as their bond is strongest when Ceres holds the knowledge. Ceres prepares for the Evenlight Ball, while growing increasingly uneasy about the Null Blade, which resists both her alchemist powers and Fisher's magic. It also can't be shattered by a godsword. Not good. Meanwhile, Carrion struggles with the weight of his true identity as the lost Dianthus heir, unsure if he's ready to claim a throne. Their conversation is interrupted when an infected feeder attacks and nearly kills Archer. Cyrus throws the null blade at it, but it is absorbed into the feeder. As Archer's glowing blood spills, the feeder reacts to the magma. It convulses, melts, then boils, leaving only the null blade behind. They discover the truth. Fire sprite blood, also known as Brimstone, is the only substance capable of destroying the rot. But Brimstone is finite in Evelia, and using it risks wiping out the fire sprites entirely since their blood does not replenish the same way human or Fae blood does. The only other way to get Brimstone is from a dragon, and Evelia is fresh out of them. Later, Ceres reunites with her brother Hayden, who's now awake, only to learn he believes Madra's lies that she betrayed their people. Furious and heartbroken, Ceres storms away just as a new rune, Brimstone, ignites on her hand. As she studies Adina's journal for answers, Fisher arrives with devastating news. Renfis has gone missing. As they prepare for the Evenlight Ball, Fisher asks Eshabal to use her magic to try and find Renfis, but it doesn't work. Just as they head out for the ball, Ceres reads the next clue from Adina's book. As they enter the ballroom, Ceres sends a servant to fetch something just as Taladeus approaches to start the events of the night. He bows to Ceres, and Fisher sees a new tattoo on his chest. Then, Taladeus publicly renounces his blood claim on Ceres to protect her political standing. This causes Ceres pain and makes her vomit blood. During the petitions for the new lord, Foley appears as a surprise sixth candidate, summoned by Ceres. She names Foley, the shunned vampire, as the new Lord of Midnight. The Blood Court is in an uproar. Foley then swears fealty to Ceres, shocking the court. She accepts him, granting him the protection of the throne. As the Evenlight shines down and everyone dances, the vampires suddenly begin to vomit black blood. Taladeus reveals he poisoned the blood in the wine with the cure for vampirism, giving them a choice: revert back to being Fae and face their sins, or die the true death. Taladeus drinks the poison himself, intending to die to atone for his past. Chaos erupts in the hall as the High Bloods begin to die or transform. Ceres and Foley pry open Taladeus' mouth, forcing him to take the cure. Back at Kalish, the truth comes out. Eshabal and Taladeus work together to replace the blood in the wine with Eshabal's blood. Her blood is a curse to all vampires. It kills them unless they take the antidote that her clan created. Foley says Taladeus is still alive, and Eshabal panics. The dark magic she used is bound to Taladeus through the large witch mark tattooed on his chest. He was supposed to take the mark with him when he died, ending the spell. They rush to Taladeus' room, and it's on fire. The mark is borrowed dark magic. If left unchecked, it steals power and will open a demon portal. Eshabal tries to undo the spell, but nothing works. Then the runes on Ceres' skin explode with light. Ceres presses her hands to Taladeus' chest and uses the runes to break the spell, extinguishing the fire and removing the mark. After this, a new rune appears on Ceres' skin. Ceres and Fisher recover from the chaos surrounding Taladeus and share a quiet moment in another dreamscape. They reaffirm their love despite uncertainty about Ceres' future and whether she'll ever take the cure. As Ceres heads to the forge, Carrion finds her and asks for her help. Carrion has secretly been studying kingship. As they talk, Ceres notices one of the potted plants by the window growing as Carrion speaks. He says all the plants have been doing this. Then the estate shakes. They look out the window and see the army from Irene marching towards them, coming for the evacuation. Danya and Loreth tell them the rot is moving quickly towards Kalish. Ceres reads Adina's book. It says, "Do not undo Zareth's work. Do not drink from the vial. Do not let Foley drink it either." The next clue is, read on at the White Cliffs. Fisher realizes they must evacuate to Einishtar, the White Cliffs. Saeris and Hayden reconcile, but the moment is interrupted by the Hazrax, who appears to Saeris and mentions a two-part gift, the powerful new rune that's now on Saeris' arm, which gives her the ability to break or undo magic, and a Lord of Midnight Ring for Foley, hinting he has an important role to play. As the rot reaches Kalish, Fisher evacuates everyone through a shadow gate to Einishtar. He sends Ceres through with Hayden and Foley, promising to follow with Onyx. Just as he's walking through, a voice stops him. Belicon has found him. Ceres and Hayden arrive at Einishtar to find it already under attack by infected feeders, and Fisher is nowhere to be found. They fight off the infected feeders and head to Telena's friend's house to regroup. As they talk, they uncover a terrifying truth. Madra isn't using Quicksilver portals. She transformed the entire city of Zilvarin, which is fashioned after a wheel, into a massive magical construct, siphoning power from its people to transport the rot across realms. To ward the realm from Madra's magic, Eshabal says they'll need powerful witches. At least 10 powerful Fae wielders, and something personal that belongs to Madra. Ceres says, "I've got you covered on that last part. Don't ask." Ceres and Carrion head to investigate one of the feeder bodies. They find one wearing guardian armor and carrying Madra's plague bag. The bag contains ashes from the sacrifices burned in Madra's honor, and her hair. Just as they're walking back, Ceres spots Taladius sitting on a rock near the cliffs. Sovina's lifeless body lies near him, drained dry by a feeder. He says he was planning to take his own life by jumping off the cliff, but then he saw the sunrise. How could he consign himself to another endless dark when he's been given back the light? Ceres picks up the sword at Taladeus' feet and uses her Quicksilver rune to make it into a god sword for him. In awe that the sword found him worthy, he names the sword Tarsarin, meaning redemption. After regrouping, Ceres presses Loreth to tell her the plan Fisher had to defeat the rot. After swearing she won't run off to enact the plan without Fisher's knowledge or help, Loreth gives in and tells her. Meanwhile, Carrion is confronted by the satyrs, who recognize him as the lost heir of Evelia. Though they kneel before him, Carrion refuses to claim the throne, at least for now. Then Ceres realizes she can find Fisher via their dreamscape, so she rushes off to find Danya and asks Danya to punch her. Danya is delighted. Ceres gets knocked out and enters a dreamscape of Kalish. It's dark and covered in the rot. Ceres senses Fisher behind a warded door and uses the Hazrax's rune to break it. Fisher is there, unresponsive, sitting in a chair. The Hazrax appears and reveals that the paper stargazer she picked up from before is the missing page from Medina's journal. Ceres reads it, then asks for her favor, to be transported to the Wicker Woods. The Hazrax transports Ceres' physical body to the Wicker Woods. She tracks Fisher using the Quicksilver in his eye and fights through Belicon's guards to reach him, finding him imprisoned inside a dryad tree. When Belicon tries to execute him, Ceres uses Fisher's true name, which she learned from the missing journal page, Kaiden Greystar Finvara, to break his magical oath and free him forever, severing Belicon's control. Together, they overpower Belicon, pinning him with their god swords. But during the escape, Aureus kills Onyx with a null blade, devastating Ceres. Fisher decapitates Belicon, knowing it will only slow him down, not kill him. Fleeing through a shadow gate, Ceres refuses to accept Onyx's death. She summons the Hazrax to see if Onyx's spirit is still with them. The Hazrax says yes, and Ceres uses the Hazrax's rune to undo death itself. The Hazrax warns that all magic has its limits and that she could shatter the rune, rendering it useless, and that she will not be able to use it later to save her friends from their oaths. Ceres doesn't care. There'd be another way to free them. Onyx moves his paw, and Ceres pulls magic from her Alchemarin shield to heal his body. Then she passes out. When she wakes, Fisher is carrying her towards Ajun. Onyx is alive, and the rune from the Hazrax is gone. As Belicon's forces close in, Fisher and Ceres reach Ajun Gate. It opens, and it's Renfis on the other side. He reveals he was summoned by his oath mark to guard the gate. Apparently, when Morel died, they buried her at the top of the mountain at Ajun, and since Morel was Ren's twin, his blood is now a part of Ajun, making him an Ajun Fae. Only the Ajun Fae can be called to join the knighthood and guard the gate between this world and another. Ren leads them to the Ajun Quicksilver pool, which is organic, black, and hot. This pool leads to Deaxis, which Fisher calls Hell. They cross into Deaxis and are immediately captured by Erison, a massive dragon who guards the realm and can hear their thoughts. Fisher reveals his true name and demands to speak with Styx, the king of dragons. Erison spews fire, which Ceres' shield deflects. The dragon spares them so Fisher can face judgment by Styx for killing her son. They are confronted by Crave and Githrand, who recognize Fisher's god sword, Nimmerel, as a legendary weapon capable of ending worlds. Fisher says it was a gift from the gods. They declare Fisher will face judgment for killing Omna Shikrai, and Styx's emissary, Aerith, the Lord of Midnight from the coronation. They threaten Ceres, and Fisher summons a shadow wall to protect her. Crave and Githrand are shocked by his shadow powers and demand to know where he got them from because only half-gods can wield shadows. Fisher proclaims he has come for a dragon, as is his right, then says, "Summon our father. Tell him I've come to make a trade." And that, folks, is how we end Brimstone. The rot is still spreading, hell has dragons, and our shadow-wielding MMC might be a half-god. If this book emotionally ruined you, subscribe, like, and comment below which was your favorite scene.